Donald Trump is so fucking evil, he now has appealed to the Supreme Court to stop SNAP payments.
Well, holy fucking shit! Holy fucking shit! Why don't you look at this headline right fucking here? I want every single motherfucker that said if only the Democrats would pass the bill, then people would get their food stamp. Democrats are making people hungry. I want every motherfucker that said that to stand up right in the front of the fucking line. Cause wouldn't you look at this shit? Not only is this administration not using the money that it already has to fund SNAP, but it's actively fighting against a court order to do so. It's actively saying, no, we don't want to use the money for SNAP, even though that's what it's for.
The Trump administration asked the Supreme Court to immediately pause a federal judge's ruling that required the administration to fully fund SNAP for the month of November. And we just got word from the Supreme Court that they have granted the Trump administration's request. There are nearly 42 million Americans that rely on the SNAP program. Most of them, as I started the show talking about, children, seniors, or people with disabilities, families across the country. And while multiple states have already sent out some SNAP benefits to some of those people, and I'm not sure how they can be pulled back, hopefully they can't be, SNAP benefits are staggered. So some people get them on the 1st of the month, some on the 2nd, or the 3rd, or even the 28th. Every state distributes benefits differently, and even within states, the day one person gets their benefits is often different from when another person will. So even though some people may have already received this month's benefits, this decision is going to have an impact, an immediate one, on the lives of millions, if not tens of millions of Americans.
This man has gone to the Supreme Court. Yes, Trump has asked the Supreme Court to block y'all food stamps. He is asking them to not allow 42 million people in the fucking country to not receive food this month. And he's asking them to do this shit in 2 hours, y'all.
Well, the Supreme Court, they're not exactly siding with the Trump administration. Let's make that clear. They're simply offering an administrative stay to let this be litigated in the courts. This will surely, most likely, be shut down, and the Trump administration will have to pay. Every court has ruled that the Trump administration must do this. This is a desperate last-minute attempt, and really, Donald Trump exploiting the government shutdown and exploiting the American people. He is weaponizing hunger against regular Americans because he has the absolute power to issue SNAP benefits, and he has been told several times to start issuing those SNAP benefits, but is trying to delay this as long as possible to make it seem like the Democrats are responsible. Well, Americans are going to continue without their SNAP benefits this weekend, continue going hungry, and we're talking about 40 million plus Americans who depend on these benefits. Just shameful and un-American from the Trump administration.
If the court agrees, it would halt or delay food assistance for more than 42 million Americans, including millions of children, seniors, and veterans. A lower court ruled that the administration violated federal law by refusing to fund SNAP during the shutdown, saying that the money was already approved by Congress and it must be spent. Now, by appealing directly to the Supreme Court, Trump's team is arguing that the president has the power to withhold funds, even when Congress has already approved them. So here's the thing, guys. That claim directly conflicts with the 1975 Supreme Court ruling against Richard Nixon, which made it clear that the president cannot refuse to spend money approved by Congress. And if the court sides with Trump, it would give the White House sweeping new power to basically control federal spending and could leave millions of Americans without food as the shutdown continues.
Hey family, it's so good to have you back. Today we are diving into a story that's making millions of Americans nervous, and honestly it should. We're talking about the Trump administration's latest move to appeal a judge's ruling on SNAP benefits, and the same benefits that help over 40 million Americans put food on the table every single month. So here's what's really happening. Earlier this week, a federal judge ordered the government to to fully fund November's SNAP benefits, saving people, saying that people shouldn't suffer while Washington argues over budgets and even shutdowns. But instead of complying, Trump's team appealed that decision, asking the Supreme Court to pause the payments. And that means those billions in food aid are now hanging in limbo while the courts decide what happens next. Now, on the surface, they're saying it's not about cruelty, it's about legality. And so the administration argues that Congress didn't approve the funding in time, so the USDA's hands are tied. But critics, on the other hand, and many ordinary Americans say that's just an excuse to squeeze the most vulnerable while playing politics with food security. Now, let's really talk about what this means. The SNAP program isn't just another welfare check, it's a lifeline. It's the bridge between eating and skipping meals for millions of seniors, of millions of children, and even struggling families. Now, when the government delays those benefits, it's not a technical pause. It's a mother skipping dinner so her kids can eat. It's an elderly man choosing between medicine and groceries. It's hunger, plain and simple. Now, what's even more disturbing is that this all comes during an economy that's already fragile. Inflation is still biting, rent's gone up, and grocery prices haven't come down yet. Yet the conversation in power seems to be less about feeding people and more about procedure and even precedent. It's a classic case of Washington losing touch with real life. But here's the bigger picture. This isn't just about food stamps, it's about priorities. And when a government can move mountains for billion-dollar bailouts or defense spending, but hesitates when it comes to keeping kids fed, it tells you where empathy ranks in the system. And family, that's the part that really hurts the most, because these programs were built on the idea that no one in America should starve, especially not in a country this wealthy. Now, what's really happening right now is a tug of war between legality and humanity. And so the Trump administration insists they can't move money from other programs to cover SNAP without Congress's approval. And the judge says that's nonsense because the cost of doing nothing is too high. And while both sides debate, ordinary people are the ones caught in the middle. And so the real question becomes that how many times do we have to see this movie before we learn? Because food security shouldn't be a political strategy, it should be a human right. And if the government can argue about billions while families are waiting for dinner, then maybe the system isn't just broken, maybe it was just designed this way. And let's not ignore the timing. With elections on the horizon, every move matters. And so each policy, each delay sends a message about who matters and who doesn't. And so the MAGA movement promises to put America first. But what version of America is it? If 40 million citizens can eat while the government plays procedural chess, family, this is more than SNAP. It's about survival, it's about dignity, and it's about holding leadership accountable when compassion gets replaced with paperwork. Because in the end, the question isn't whether they can pay for food aid, it's whether they want to. And so let's keep this conversation alive. If this story made you think, drop your thoughts below, because silence only benefits the powerful. We can't afford to look away from this.